Hey guys, Tiago here with Classical Technology, and today I want to show you how it's like to build in the Be Quiet 900 Revision 2 case. As you'll see, this is a case that's optimized for silence and that has a lot of very interesting things going for it, as we'll talk about. The first thing you're likely to notice is that it's inverted. Everything's upside down. That's one of the really cool little nifty features about this case. You can actually take a lot of it apart and put the motherboard upside down, the GPU, all the PCIe slots. And as you can tell, everything's on the right side of the motherboard, which really adds like a nice touch. You know, if you want to make your build very unique, that's definitely one of the things that I really liked about this, because it gives you a nice visual, especially with the custom cables coming from the top. And then, the first thing we're going to talk about is the motherboard itself. The motherboard is the MSI X570 Godlike with the 3900X CPU, a 12-core AMD CPU. As you guys know, that's definitely one of the go-to processors on the market now, until Intel finally responds with something. And the next thing you see here is the GPU. That's an EK block for the 2080 Super, which is one of Nvidia's newer graphics cards. It's not exactly a 2080 Ti, and it's not a 2080. It's sort of somewhere in the middle, but the 2080 Ti is still, of course, significantly faster. And in terms of installing it into the case, I've been doing vertical GPUs a lot recently, and while it looks great, sometimes it's a little bit hard to access the actual motherboard if you have to plug in other things such as a sound card or anything like that. I feel like this case, the positioning of the motherboard gives you really nice access. So I was able to run my tube in there. If you could see, that tube runs all the way to the top, with bits power fittings to the top radiator. I have a radiator on the, which would be the front, but it's actually the back now. And then I have another 240 millimeter radiator on the bottom. So 240 bottom, 240 on the front, and the 420 millimeter radiator on top. And it's all using Be Quiet Silent Wings 3 fans. And in terms of the liquid cooling, it was a pleasure to work in this case because, first of all, there's a lot of space. I was able to fit everything nicely. The panels are all really high quality construction. The only thing that I'll say that it's not 100%, and that I understand that it's a silence based case. The airflow is really not the greatest, and it does tend to affect performance, to a pretty significant degree. You can get it silent, but your GPU temperatures aren't going to be as cool as if you had a high airflow case, such as a Cooler Master H500M or something like that. So now, concerning the temperature performance, with the front panel closed, everything closed off like it's meant to be with the dust filters in, on the GPU you'll get around 48°C with an ambient temperature of 23°C, which isn't bad. Considering without a water block, this GPU would be hitting 84°C or something similar. But considering the amount of water cooling that you have, even with Silent Wings 3 high RPM fans running fairly low RPM and quiet, the only thing you can really hear is the whine of the D5 pump a little bit, the Corsair pump at 100%. Considering the amount of radiator space that we have in this case, in another case with better airflow, your temperatures with the same ambient would really be closer to 42°C. So maybe you're giving up around 6 to 8°C to have that really closed off design and have more silence. And that's something that's debatable. I also will later on show a build in the Cooler Master H500M, which has some of the best airflow that you can get in the case, which is the opposite of this Be Quiet case. You could argue that you could almost make that build more silent while having lower temperatures than something like this. But otherwise, aside from that, I absolutely love the case. Build quality is top notch, and it has so many little hidden gems that you kind of, find out as you're building. For example, the inverted motherboard, the way that the bottom panel goes together, the way you screw everything in, the quality of even the top, airflow, top, everything's built really, really well. And, they put a lot of thought, I think, into the design of this case. And just a few other notes, it does have a fan controller and even an RGB controller with included strips. I actually did make use of the RGB strips, you know, for like a white LED, and they actually look really good. The fan controllers, I always opt to use Aqua Computer software and hardware, such as the Quadro and the Aqua Aero. But overall, this is, you know, a pretty fantastic case. You could even open up the front panel for better airflow if you really wanted to. But overall, I really enjoyed this case, and it definitely looks beautiful. I'm really happy with the way these cable mod custom cables came out with this. This is the blue opaque EK fluid. It came out really, really nice. And overall, it's a very satisfying computer to game on. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you like it. I plan to do more videos in the future as I get better. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll try to answer as much as possible. Thank you guys.